in that. Query number 51 from Ulhasnagar, Maharashtra. Time management and efficiency of work. Difficulty in managing appropriate time for various tasks at clinic. For example, completing appointed patients' work on time. Reason being staff cooperation and efficiency or other patient walk-in or lab work to check or speaking to lab fellow for some case. Trying to manage this by delegating work to staff, allotting separate time for consent form documentation, formulation, lab person communication, but something or the other creeps in that allotted patient's time and the work gets stretched or extending in the next patient's time. Now, the question is, whenever we face this kind of problem, we simply need to understand we are overstaffed. We are understaffed. We need to up the ante in that regard. We have kept too much responsibility on our head. We have not trained our staff properly for certain things. Or vice versa. Our staff is not happy from what we are giving them. Many of us believe staff को annual bonus देते तो हैं, that is good enough. No. They need to be having a force fair growth. They need to have that monetary satisfaction or monetary growth. They need to have a career growth where you're upgrading them, empowering them to learn something new. For example, a teacher's training program, assistant training program. For example, a BLS life skill, which anyways is mandatory in many associations in India. Work-life balance. You work on Sundays, it is your problem. Everybody needs to, we still have don't have a 5+2 work culture in most of the professions in India, except the government sphere and the private IT sector or a couple of others. We don't have a 5+2 work style. We still have 6+1 for some, and 6.5 plus half means half day of holiday for some. They work for 6.5 days. Sundays also half day or full day. Even 7-0 for some. So if you are not giving them work-life balance, it is your problem. Then shunning the abusive culture. We don't treat them with love and respect. So any staff needs to have these 4 aspects. If your staff is not following what you are doing, that means somewhere down the line, you are lacking those capabilities to train them properly. All of us should have that one loyal staff member who sticks on with us for at least 8 to 10 years, at least one staff member. Because when I take these sessions, I am not aiming that कि हाँ जी multiple setup है, big setup है, आपके 8-9 chair वाले के लिए बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं single chair वाले के लिए भी बात कर रहा हूँ. You have that one loyal staff member who should know in and out. And he should be the head trainer for your other staff, not you delegating everything. Yes, you can fine tune the nuances. You can do a few other things that are needed, but it does not mean that you are doing everything in that way. So if you are handling everything, that means you have already too much on hand. You learn to delegate a bit more. This will do nothing but burn you out. Staff issues in managing things in a more efficient way, not finding the appropriate and loyal staff who can manage all things properly, need to give repeat instructions and reminders to the existing staff for their work and way of working, coming late more often. So work is not ready on time for appointed patients. That is why things keep on delaying or causing irritability and stressed environment. It is a hierarchical function. If you are not sticking to time, you are not punctual, why will your staff do that? It is a seepage problem from the top hierarchy. Punjabi mein, again, there is one more quote. Jidda di koko, udda de bacche. Means, as is the boss, so will be the employees. Simply saying, if you understand that if you are following a proper ethical routine, proper working routine, proper way of working, and delegating them, where the staff also feels empowered, the staff is not going to leave you. or the staff is not going to give you disappointment. Just because you have taken a delay of your patients as an acceptable excuse, ठीक है रोज हम हर पेशेंट में 20-25 मिनट लेट होते हैं, चलता है. If that चलता है attitude is your norm, that चलता है attitude becomes their norm also. So you need to tighten the noose or the nut and bolt first in your head, first on your part, and then you can claim them to have that. Whenever the staff shows incompetency, there are two reasons. Either you hired an incapable staff. Second, you lack competency in hiring a capable staff. Now, these are two different things. Of course, both show your incapability. The first shows your incapability in hiring. The second shows your incapability in, you can say, delivering or delegating or explaining them a few things or training them on a few things. Understand that. Less footfall, number of walk-ins are less, but I'm almost occupied 80 to 85% time with the ongoing patients' work and consultations. So I don't know how to alter and where less conversion of big ticket cases, especially after increasing charges of 80% category work. So if you are increased charges in 80% category work, so that means you are watching my videos. I can understand that. But if you are having more work in your clinic, why do you need to consult? The point number one. If you're consulting, then why are you worried about less footfall? You can't have the best of all the worlds. You need to understand, kahin to cut marna padega na. Sab jagah to khushi nahi milegi. So where does the problem lie? Either cut down on consulting, or don't worry about the less footfall, or focus on having more capable staff and increase your work output, improve your efficiency, improve your productivity, so that you have less time. Otherwise, it will end up nowhere. It will end up in burning you out and not having enough money. So I'm not sure how you manage your family life along with that, maybe your kids or whatever. So I'm not really sure about that part. So if you're not balancing that part, you need to make a clear, fine divide between this. So communication skills need to improve it. Yes, at times I find difficulty in explaining to some patients why my charges are high, require a lot to improve on convincing trait, handling situations where patient is not satisfied or having unrealistic expectations. You mentioned yourself in the point number one. If you're taking good consent forms, consent is the first way to tone down expectations. And convincing, absolutely zero you have to do. Because these two are contrast things. If you go on convincing someone something, nahi auntie, you'll be a Aishwarya Rai. I am going to assure you. That is convincing. Consent is, I'm sorry, I can't better you from a Rakhi Sawan. I can't upgrade you from a Rakhi Sawan to Aishwarya Rai. Of course, with due respect for both, I'm not, I'm just taking name for the, you can say comparison in not in the looks part. Don't take me wrong in that sense. So I'm just upgrading from version 1 to version 5. I can't promise you version 10. So you set down the expectation. So convincing and consent form are both antonyms in that sense. Set realistic expectations, be true to your art. Communication is something where you have to be a combination of push and pull. It is not to be push, 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 push. Convincing is just push, 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 push. It should be pull, 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 push. Pull, 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 push. Or add value, 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 sell. Value, 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 sell. It should be like that. 3:1 ratio. That is the characteristic example where you convince something. And of course, if you are not having even 15 to 20% time, as you said, 80 to 85% you are occupied on operations aspect. Who's taking care of the rest of the nuts and bolts? If you are the one who's taking care of all the 9 nuts and bolts in the remaining 15-20% time that you have, then you are doing an injustice to your existing nuts and bolts or existing patients. You need to really cut the slack somewhere. Need to decide how much you want to convey, how much you want to do. Not taking consents for all cases due to increased work or inappropriate time management. Many patients don't get anyone for witness signature. So See, consent, if you have written not taking consent for all cases, I can understand that means not taking written consent for all cases. What I believe is written consent is not required in every case. Majority it is, but not in every case. You have to make a distinction where to do, where not to do. So if the patient is not agreeing for a witness signature, even when you have detailed everything in the verbal aspect first, get a signature from your second staff member also in an exceptional case, and add a line in your consent forms. The patient was told about the witness signature. The patient expressed his or her inability to bring a witness as her husband or as her whatever is working, or as her wife, spouse is working. So on patient's insistence, we are getting a second witness signature also from our staff. Just add these two lines in your existing consent form and get both of your staff member signature, you and the patient, 4 of you sign, and the consent form is done. That is as simple as that. But don't make it a norm in every case. An exception needs to be added with these 2 points, not every case. Taking more time to formulate the consent form, especially the one having many clinical findings. The simplest way is to use a 3-in-1 form, the treatment approval form, for the basic things, and eliminate the how and the other things and the whys from the consent form. Make it crisp and concise. Make it crisp and concise, should not go beyond 2 ways. With due respect, koi raam kahani nahi likhni hai usme. Just write the discussion that transpired between you and the patient. Treatment suggested, the RBOs, go ahead. Of course, with the treatment part, the inclusions part, we can say other consultation inclusions, the payment part, and terms and conditions, all those aspects which are done. So the clinical findings can be delegated simply in that 3-in-1 form or the journal history findings form, which I've shared so many times in the group. So difficulty in getting Google reviews from patients, sending the link for same and reminder to patients on WhatsApp, but still majority of them don't give a Google review. It's but natural for anyone to feel that I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. So many people detest this thing. They always believe that I can give you a written one. So be it. Don't insist on getting the one done. Preferably in the last sitting, try it in your clinic only. I've given that example of a blind feedback in your clinic. Try that. Try that, where you keep you can say a box in your clinic where it is logged, and you can say, don't make it like these survey forms. Don't make name and address and everything mandatory. You need the review. That's it. Have that review. I gave you a cheat code for that also, if you remember. Have that box, put it in there, and ask the patient to drop it. So that you say, this box is open once in a month. Open it once the patient leaves. No problem. No problem. The question is not whether you are giving a review or not, or you're getting a review or not. The question is, how much are you seeking in terms of improvement? If yes, you are seeking a change in your way of working, get a genuine one inside the clinic. Insist. Simple way. हम लोग बहुत लंबा चौड़ा फॉर्म दे देते हैं, कई बार लोगों को फ्रेम करने नहीं आते आंसर्स. Name optional. What did you like? What you did not like? Suggestions for change. Khatam. That should be it. Simplest feedback form. वो इतना लंबा 0 to scale of 0 to 10 रेस्टोरेंट में बैठे हो क्या करना है? वो एवरी डे का किसी पे 8, किसी पे 9. How are you actually going to measure it? No one is going to. So keep it simple, silly. That is the KISS principle that everyone should be following. Fear of getting negative review from unsatisfied patients. If you're getting all 10 out of 10 positive, you are rating of 5-star on Google, you're actually fake. 4.7, 4.5, 4.8, 4.9 is actually the way it should be looked at, out of 5, of course. Today, God even does not have a 5-star Google rating. People go and crypt to him in mandirs, temples, churches, mosques, gurdwaras, and wherever, as per their belief. They go and, you can say, burst their head. You did not give me this thing. I hate you for this. Of course, openly they don't say it. They might be saying in their heart. But that is what the society has turned it to. As I said, we are undergoing a mass modernization in today's times. And that is the bitter truth. So the God does not have a 5-star. It also has a lot of negative reviews from 150 crore Indians. Leave aside the world. Leave aside the 7 billion in the world. 7.8 or 8 billion, whatever. So if God does not have it, we are mere mortals. Why worry? बोलते ना, too much sugar also causes diabetes. Have some salt to balance it. Fair enough.